Hey, what's going on guys? Ben here, and I'm back today with a brand new video, and this is going to be a little bit of a different one. Today we're actually doing a room tour. Now, building this room and this setup took months and months, as you'll see in some of the shots. It's just absolutely incredible. So I want to kind of share this with you. If you enjoy this video, please hit that like button, and also anything I show in the video, I'll try to put in the description down below so you can check it out. Without further ado, let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that happens once you enter the room is you actually turn on the lights. So you use the main light switch to the room, but then I've also installed some of these little special buttons, the Logitech Pop, and you push that button, and what actually happens if you look around, all the lights get turned on from that button. Alright, so that button is one of the many smart home features and pieces of tech that I've incorporated into this room. I'll go into a little bit more on the other smart home tech later, but first I want to kind of give you a walkthrough, show you what's actually in this room and what's so cool about it. Alright, so to start off this room tour, we're going to go over this sort of area first. Now you can see there's the inbuilt dressers and closet, that's all standard. You got my towel, toiletries, stuff like that. But here's one of the many Philips Hue lamps you can see scattered throughout the room. Now, what's so special about these lamps, and we'll go into that in a minute, is that these are all Wi-Fi connected. I'm going to go over all the smart home functionality of this, but first I just want to kind of focus on the design. So let's enjoy all the pretty lighting. Now moving over here to the actual desk setup, this is where I get most of my work done. So you can actually see one interesting thing about this setup is that I have a white desk. If you look at my roommate's desk over here, you can see it's this more tan wood color. And that's because on my desk, I actually installed this vinyl skin. This is similar to what you actually use to wrap your car. That's actually what this is. This is literally a car wrap. And I installed that on the desk so that I could have a nice white look to it, because I prefer working on a white desk, but the school would not let me change their furniture. Now on the desk, you can see I actually have a lot of sort of different stuff. I got pencil holder, little whiteboard, a lot of little decoration stuff both here and on the side. We actually in the middle have my 4K monitor. This is an Asus monitor. Flanking each side of the monitor are floating speakers that I use to actually listen to audio when I sort of edit video, listen to music, watch movies, stuff like that. Beneath the monitor is actually this little hub thing which has volume knobs on it, and what that does is that allows me to control where the audio sources is going to. So I've got a headphone jack mount that'll run to these Audio-Technica M50X headphones, and I can just switch to that by simply spinning up one knob and spinning down the other. So I can control the audio to 3 different sources, either the headphones, the speaker built into the monitor, or the big speakers on the side. And so I thought that was really cool, a really unique way to kind of split up the audio sources, so I can always listen to music in either headphones or on speakers depending on what I'm in the mood for without having to unplug anything. Now, along with that, I've also got some other neat sort of cabling stuff. You can see I have this VESA mount right here that actually lifts the laptop up off of the desk surface to kind of free up some space both on this thing and on the desk. I also have routed all the cabling to this VESA mount, so I can actually have the monitor plugged in, have my external hard drive, stuff like that. I also have like a USB hub routed down to right here. Now you got your basic like storage stuff, and here's just some cabling, stuff like that. Nothing too special. You got some school supplies here. But beneath the desk, I have my subwoofer, and I also have a piece of construction paper. Now that construction paper is big in the sense that it's hiding most of the cabling in this room. In fact, all of the cabling that happens in this room is hidden behind all of the furniture. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Now also behind the desk, what you can't see, I have 8 terabytes of backup storage. Now this is used to back up my Mac and also store a lot of my YouTube files for filming videos like this. That's among all of the cabling that runs to the Mac. In fact, you can see I've even routed little things like this USB hub right here and other sort of cabling. There was a lot of work that went into the cabling for this setup. And we'll go into that in a little bit. I wanted to share that with you in the end. But on the other half of my room is actually my roommate CJ's stuff. So you can see he has his nice desk setup. his mural of Elon Musk and Steve Jobs related items, whiteboard. Underneath his bed, we have a nice lounge chair and a mini fridge and microwave combo, among some other food stuff on the shelf. Now, probably the biggest centerpiece of this setup isn't actually what I've showed you. It's actually this entertainment setup we have right over here. Now, what's very interesting about this area, we're gonna kind of go from left to right to show you through it. But this is where a lot of both my gear is stored and where a lot of like the smart home tech is centered. So this is the area I want to focus the most on. So first, we have over here my shelf of basically all my film gear. So I've got my MIDI keyboard that I use to produce music and stuff for these videos, along with my shelf of all my camera equipment. Usually my main camera is sitting right here, but I'm filming on it right now, so I can't have that there. But we've got my Joby Gorilla Pod, some lights, lav mics, lenses, GoPro, some batteries, stuff like that. Beneath that is actually this plush chair that was part of the entertainment setup video I did a few months back on actually this chair and that TV. So if you want to check out that video, make sure to hit the I in the corner. But moving on, we have, actually I'll move this chair out of the way so you can see. We have my storage containers right here. This stores a lot of stuff. I have camera gear in this drawer, some other miscellaneous school supplies and like tapes and stuff like that in there, bags in this drawer, more school supplies here, miscellaneous stuff, and then all of my wires and cables go in this drawer. From left to right, on top of the shelf, we've got my boosted board charger, Wii remote, and my Mavic Pro charger, the Mavic Pro sitting right down there. We got a nice little fake plant both here and here. I can't really take care of real plants, so all the plants you see in this room are fake. Got a Philips Hue Bloom, which is one of the many Philips Hue related devices I have around the room. You can see we have a lot of light under here, blue light bulbs, green Philips Hue light strips, stuff like that. Moving on to the right, you can see we have my guitar, which is actually covering a lot of my film gear stuff sitting behind it, which includes like a tripod, a slider, light stand, stuff like that. Now this is one of the two guitars I have in this room. The other guitar is actually right here. And this guitar is actually hanging off the side of the bed using this little hook thing I found on Amazon. Also linked down below. Now, one thing both me and my roommate did to save space was actually loft our beds. That kind of allowed for this whole setup to be built. But we had to actually like accommodate for stuff like putting our phones on our beds. So I have this night table right here that I found on Amazon that actually allowed me to be able to store my phone and my Apple Watch at night when I sleep and have it easy access when I wake up in the morning. I just thought that was pretty cool and I wanted to share it with you. But now onto the big centerpiece of this whole setup, the TV. Now, I've already done a full in-depth tour of this TV, everything on it, but I'm just gonna quickly kind of showcase it to you guys in case you haven't caught that video. Again, eye in the corner. But we have a 40-inch HD 1080p TV over here, soundbar beneath it. The soundbar actually produces really good sound. It's one of the best parts of the setup. You have the subwoofer behind it. We have a ton of gaming consoles in this room. We have the Wii that I showed before, a Nintendo Switch holder. So the Switch is somewhere else right now. PlayStation 4 Slim, tons and tons of games, printer beneath it. Honestly, this setup is fantastic for whenever we're just like getting tired of working, just kind of chillax, relax, play some video games. People are always in here playing games, which is so much fun. There's plenty of seating around, and it's just a blast to play with friends. So one thing you've probably noticed is the excessive amount of lighting I have in this room. You can see even under the bed, there's just a ridiculous amount of lights everywhere. And now all of these lights are actually Wi-Fi enabled. That goes into like the smart functionality of this room. That was the second goal I was trying to achieve. And so I can control everything from my phone with just a couple of taps, but the main way that I actually interact with all these lights is with the Logitech button. So if you remember, I had one at the entrance right over there. That was actually used to turn on the lights and turn them off whenever I enter or leave the room. I also have another one right here on my bed, and this has labels on it. It says on, off, movie time, and PlayStation 4. And so that's a single, double click, and a long press. So all these buttons can actually control different things throughout the room. I can, for example, turn on like a movie time, which would dim the lights, turn on the Apple TV, turn the TV to that setting. And I can do all of that just by simply clicking the button and I can like turn off the lights with a single click. There's a lot of functionality that goes with that. Now the third and final button is actually over here. This has a couple different modes. I can control the lights to make them more of a whitish blue color. So that way I can kind of concentrate better when doing homework. It's also got this mode called colorful mode that I want to show you guys. So if you press and hold the button, you can see after a couple seconds of delay, all of the lights start to change colors. You can see the ones on the desk change colors. Even the TV. The TV is actually part of this whole smart home system. So it'll turn on, change to the Apple TV input, turn on the Apple TV, and then the Apple TV will turn on its screensaver. Now all of this cool stuff, you can actually see it happening in the background. It's so cool. All of this is enabled through one device that I bought, which is the Logitech Harmony Hub right here. Now what that hub does is it sends off IR blasters and also has like a lot of Wi-Fi enabled features to it. And what that allows it to do is to control dumb devices like the TV, like the sound bar that don't have smart functionality, and integrate it with systems like the Philips Hue lights and other smart switches that I have throughout the room. Now one of the ways I'm able to control a lot of the lights that are dumb and that don't have IR blasters, like for example the string lights you can see lining the whole top of the room, is through these things called the Wemo smart switches. Now you can actually see one of these switches right down here. This is the one that's plugged into the lava lamp right now. And I have these switches scattered throughout the room. Now these smart switches are what enables me to actually be able to control a lot of the stuff throughout the room, like the string lights, which are not Wi-Fi enabled and don't have IR blasters. Now let me turn the lights back on to normal, just a single click of the button. You can see the TV will actually turn off. It takes about a second of delay, that's just the school's Wi-Fi. But all the lights go back to normal, back to white. It's actually pretty cool how it's able to do all this and work so seamlessly with all the smart home tech in this room. Now another cool way I'm able to control all the stuff you see in the room is through voice control. So I actually have an Amazon Echo sitting in the corner of the room, and that can control everything you see. So for example, I can say, Alexa, turn on PlayStation. And she will actually activate the Logitech Harmony Hub. As you see, TV goes on. When the TV actually turns on and finishes turning on, the input will be changed to the HDMI port where the PlayStation is plugged into, and it'll have the PlayStation on ready to go with my games up. So I'm able to just come in, sit down, ask her to turn on the PlayStation, then I can start playing games. Very smooth, very simple. As you can see, it works perfectly, soundbar is on. That's one of the really cool things I've set up in terms of smart functionality. Now besides smart functionality, I also built a lot of little quirks into the room, so you can actually come back to the desk. As I mentioned, I had a lot of cabling running in, like the USB ports. I've also done some other things to kind of make usability much more easy. So for example, when I want to play that piano that I showed you, instead of trying to find the USB cable and plugging it in, I've already got the cable pre-plugged in here ready to go, so I can just place the piano on the desk and have it in. I also have my surge protector for my lights, so whenever I film my YouTube videos at my desk, I simply plug in my lights and flip the switch on, and it's ready to go. So that's one of like the really cool things I've done to kind of make the space more usable. I've done other things like wiring iPad chargers into right here, so that when I come home from school and I want to plug in my iPad, which I took notes on all day, I just simply set it down right there and plug it in. I've also got my wireless phone charger for my iPhone 10. Now I also have a lot of other cool gadgets in this room. For example, we have a security camera hidden right over there, so if you want to come and steal my stuff, don't, we're watching you. We also have a projection alarm clock right here, so that at night when it's dark and we kind of want to know what time it is, it just projects the time right up here on the ceiling, which is actually really cool. There's a lot of other like really cool gadgets in this room that just make the space really cool. So if you want to see a video on just the gadgets in this room, leave a comment down below letting me know. But the way I was actually able to fit all of this into the room, because this is not a big space. I have a wide angle lens on right now, so it makes it look a lot bigger than it actually is. But this is a very small, very compact space. And so there's actually a lot of engineering that went into making all of this fit in such a small space. Now, one of the areas that I've actually done a lot of work on in terms of space saving is the closet. So as you can see over here, I have everything neatly organized and stored inside the closet. So you can see I've got all of my snacks right here running down the length of the closet. I've got my guitar amp down here with the cables ready to go. The amp's actually always on. So if I just flip the switch, you see the lights come on. It's always wired in over here, which I thought was really cool. Got some extra shoes down there, other shoes sitting over here. All the food is lined up, ready to go, ready to eat. Got some utensils and plates in here. Obvious clothes. Everything up until the ceiling is used in space. You can see I have my suitcase up there, iron, other miscellaneous stuff. I can actually slide the door over and show you more clothing, cleaning supplies, a drawer system filled with food and other supplies. Got an extra guitar stand down here, but really every inch of space, even like these bins of like medical and other sort of supplies, is just used up perfectly. And so I really kind of prided myself in terms of taking good use of all the vertical space I have in this room. In fact, all of the decisions I've made in terms of where to place stuff has been to try to utilize vertical space. So for example, I've got stuff like this ironing board, which I can actually place out into the middle of the room and kind of iron with. Mainly it's used to actually store pizza boxes, as you can see by this picture here. But there's a lot of other things, like even underneath the bed, so I moved this ladder so that we could get access to the closet. Even underneath the bed, you can see I have this hook, which is holding up the piano. That way it's not taking up any surface space, it's kind of hanging. I did the same with my boosted board here, the charger's in and wired, but the boosted board is hanging on the side of the bed along with the helmet. Now that's a really good way to kind of utilize vertical space, save on floor space, you know, hanging it. These are just regular shower hangers for like clothing and stuff like that. They go on the door, you can hold your like shower towels, stuff like that. I'll also have those linked down below if you want. But just everything in general that happened with this space has been utilized in a way so that I can maximize on the amount of stuff I have in here, using every nook and cranny of the room, and also have as much as possible organized so that I can easily access it. That's why I've got a lot of these storage bins, and that's why every inch from wall to wall is being utilized. I had no extra space lengthwise, because if I move the bed any further this way, I actually can't access the closet. One of the ways I'm actually easily able to access the closet is this guitar stand is a pivoting one, so I can have the guitar out for show and then pivot it in and actually access the closet. Now another way I was able to keep the room nice and neat and tidy is with actually cable ties. You've probably seen that throughout the room. I have things like this with these little cable clips where all of the cables that are routed throughout this room are organized. Now that's actually one of the biggest feats in terms of organization that happen in this room. That's cable management. So you can see an example down here. I've got a surge protector with my Wemo plug in it, and that's routed all the way to behind the desk. In fact, this whole room, everything you see powered in here, on at least this half of the room, only happens from 2 outlets. So there's surge protectors in surge protectors, creating about, I would say there's 6 surge protectors in link right now between 4 different outlets. And that's what allows me to have all this stuff plugged in such a neat fashion. There's actually no cabling over here, so this lamp, things like this, I had to route down through the closet all the way into a surge protector in the closet where the amp's plugged in, and that runs out of the closet over here and to behind the TV where the other outlet is. So a lot of work has gone into routing all these cables to make sure everything has power and everything looks good so that you don't see any cables strewn around. In fact, there's probably, I'd say, close to 40 outlets being utilized in this space, but you don't see any of that because all the cabling was neatly hidden. I hid cables along this black bar and running down using white tape. Stuff like the security camera over here has white tape over it so that the cables are hidden. Everything's neatly organized. There was a lot of planning going on for all of the cabling in this room. So anyway, that concludes my overall dorm tour. There's a lot of stuff I still didn't talk about, like that whiteboard, little things like that. So if you want me to go into further detail on any of those sort of things, just leave a comment down below letting me know, and I'll be sure to try to get to those. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and also comment down below letting me know what you thought. And be sure to subscribe, as I have a lot of content coming out on both stuff in this room and new tech. So anyway, thanks, subscribe, and peace out. See you later.